More storms. Let's turn things over to Kyle Underwood for an update on this. Kyle?
Brian and Sue, by my count, this is round number 4 for today. A very active day of strong storms and severe weather here across West Michigan. And now we have severe thunderstorms warnings active for Kalamazoo, Van Buren, Cass, and Berrien County. Let's start with Storm Track Live. Look at all this lightning. Over the last half hour, we've seen 6,000 strikes of lightning across Berry, Allegan, Kalamazoo, northern Cass, St. Joseph, and Van Buren, as well as Berrien County. So these storms are really producing a great light show for us. A lot of loud thunder with this storm system across especially Kalamazoo County. And just now, a report of some minor flooding taking place in Kalamazoo, which is no surprise because we had almost half an inch of rain in 10 minutes. Right now, the National Weather Service reporting some minor flooding taking place on Parkview Road occurring near Oakland Drive, where the water is about a foot deep. Also noteworthy, I'm tracking a thunderstorm cell that has a little bit of rotation with it. Let's focus in on this. This is in southern Kalamazoo County, and in fact, the National Weather Service just posted a tornado warning for it. This storm cell is producing rotation. This is just near Galesburg, and I was just looking at this and curious about this cell because we are seeing some indication of rotation. And when you look at the composition of the atmosphere tonight, it's not a surprise the Weather Service posts this warning here because we have had what could be deemed tornadic damage near Lansing earlier tonight, so the atmosphere is right. And so if you're watching us from parts of Kalamazoo County, you're now under a tornado warning. Again, this is just to the east of the city of Kalamazoo. First things first, I want to track this storm. It's moving off to the east-northeast, putting a track on the part that's rotating. Again, this is just to the east of Kalamazoo. So actually, in terms of tornado in the city of Kalamazoo, you're in the clear right now. I don't suspect the greatest danger is for you, but Howlandsburg and Gull Lake, you're going to want to be taking shelter right now, making sure you're not inside. Stay away from windows. Head to an interior room of your house or the basement. If you have a TV down there, you can also watch us live. We'll be streaming. We'll get the stream up on woodtv.com or on your mobile app. So this is a dangerous situation here. We did see what looked like could have been weak tornado damage here in eastern Kalamazoo, near Lansing in Clinton County earlier this evening, and now the National Weather Service has posted this tornado warning for Kalamazoo County. So while we have radar up here, I want to flip over to the chat page here and get you verbatim, because this is brand new information, get you verbatim what the National Weather Service is saying about this storm. Pulling that up right now. The tornado warning goes until 12:15, so a little bit after midnight. This is covering northern Kalamazoo County. That's what you're seeing on the screen there, here near Gull Lake, east of the city of Kalamazoo. Also, southwestern Berry County and northwestern Calhoun County. Doppler radar indicated tornado, of course, and this goes until 12:15 a.m. Now, the wider view of what's going on shows that we're under a severe thunderstorm watch here. This is for all of these areas that are shaded in the light orange, but the tornado warning itself is for eastern Kalamazoo, northwestern Calhoun, and southern Berry County. So I want to pull up some tornado safety tips here for you in case you're watching this from these areas. This is a time where you're going to want to grab your family and make sure you're in a safe place. Now again, you know, we all have this heightened tornado awareness because of what happened last week in Moore, and that was an entirely different type of tornado situation. This, according to what I'm seeing on radar right now, looks like the kind of situation where it could produce damage like what we saw earlier in Lansing. You saw that video just a couple of minutes ago, and it's entirely possible this could be a powerful enough storm to destroy outbuildings, to cause significant damage to your home. We're not expecting a wide swath of damage from this setup, but this is a situation here where you're going to want to take shelter immediately and make sure that you're certainly away from windows. You know, research actually shows the instinct is that people have this instinct, they want to go outside and have a peek. It's dark out. We're seeing this on radar. We're seeing strong winds rotating right now. And so if you're watching us from northeastern Kalamazoo, east of the city of Kalamazoo, make sure you're in a safe spot and you have your family all taken care of. No doubt you're hearing sirens right now, and you know we know that when we have these types of situations, a lot of people tune in because they're awakened by the sirens or they're doing something else and they hear the sirens go off, they turn into the news. So if you're just joining us, again, we have a tornado warning that's going until 12:15 for northeastern Kalamazoo County. This does not, the warning technically does include the city of Kalamazoo, but the greatest threat is not in the city of Kalamazoo. We've had a couple of sweeps of radar here, so what I'm doing is looking at what's called radial velocity. It shows us the winds within the storm. We're not seeing strong gate-to-gate shear. That's an indication of the strongest part of the storm. We're not seeing that per se, but a couple of cells here worth watching where we see some reds and greens coming together. Those are the cells that we're watching for the threat for tornadoes. So a couple that I'm going to highlight here, one in southwestern or southern Berrien County, right here along M37, and then the other cell here north of Gull Lake, east of Kalamazoo, and north of Galesburg. Both of these have the potential for producing spin-ups or rotation. Let's track these one more time. I'm going to go one by one here for these cells. First, the one in Berrien County. They're both moving to the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. This is going to be into Kalamazoo about 20 minutes from now. Southern Berrien County, Assyria in 7 minutes, Lacey in 5 minutes. Now we're into Eaton County and Ellinger in about 24 minutes. Carlisle and Charlotte in 24 minutes. Here's Charlotte actually half hour from now. And Chester in 31 minutes. Now to the cell here in Kalamazoo County. This is again northeastern Kalamazoo County, and if you're hearing sirens from Kalamazoo City proper, I want you to know that the tornado threat does not cover you, even though parts of the city of Kalamazoo are under this tornado warning. Howlandsburg in about 4 minutes, Gull Lake about 8 minutes from now, Yorkville 7 minutes from now, Level Park in about 16 minutes, Urbandale in about 19 minutes, and here's Bedford 21 minutes from now. Just to recap, this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado. We haven't had a report of a tornado. When you see a situation like this where we're seeing on radar that well, let me put it this way. When we have a situation where we're seeing a tornadic storm on radar, that doesn't mean there's a tornado on the ground, but it's a situation that's serious enough where you're going to want to make sure your family's in a safe spot. Grab a weather radio, turn your TV up very loud, get down in the family room in the basement if there are no windows. You just want to be away from windows. You want to be in a safe spot. If you can go under stairways, that's a great spot to be. If you have an interior room in your home, that's going to be a good spot to be. Under heavy furniture would be a good spot to be. If you're in a mobile home, hopefully by now you already have a plan and you know what to do. You should not be in a mobile home because these storms, even mobile homes, even with storms like this, tornadoes in West Michigan, generally EF0s and EF1s, the overwhelming majority are on the weaker side of tornadoes, nothing like what we saw in Moore. But tornadoes that strong can easily damage or totally destroy a mobile home. So this is a great time to take shelter, especially if you live in a mobile home. You do not want to be in a mobile home during these kind of events because those tend just anecdotally seem to be magnets for these types of storms. Again, generally weaker tornadoes, but definitely powerful enough to do significant damage. Now the threat with being next to a window is if you get a flying object going through the air, now keep in mind, a weak tornado can still produce a 75, 80, 85 mile per hour wind gust, and that's enough to knock off a tree branch, pick up lawn furniture, whip that through a window. Think about the shards of glass that are going to be flying. This could potentially be a dangerous situation. Now let's go back to graphics one more time. I want to review some of the safety rules here. You want to be in your tornado shelter, which again is going to be an interior room until we get the all clear, which is at the very latest, it's going to be 12:15, but it could go earlier than that. I'm getting a note now that sirens are going off. Brian and Sue perhaps have an update on that, so we'll get over to them in a second. I'm getting a note now that sirens are going off where this tornado warning is being located. A basement, lowest level in your house, an interior room. Stay away from windows. Make sure your head is protected. Again, a tornado warning because of a Doppler radar indicated tornado for northeastern Kalamazoo, Calhoun, northern part of Calhoun. This includes the city of Battle Creek and also southern Berrien County. We're getting a new sweep of radar data in here, so let's go in a little bit closer here. We'll highlight some of the streets that are involved here. We'll start with Kalamazoo County here. Let's see, we're along Kalamazoo County. And we're not going to be able to get roads to come up, but you can see Richland, Gull Lake here, Turner's Corner, Richland Junction. This is one area of rotation, and then another area of rotation that we're watching very carefully near Assyria and Lacey Banfield. This is the western Eaton, southern Berrien County section of this storm. Tracking this storm, the two areas of concern will start in northeastern Kalamazoo County with this new radar sweep here. You can see that's going to be out to Lacey in about half an hour, Bedford 20 minutes. Now, Midland Park, Yorkville, and Gull Lake, you're all right in the heart of this storm, so you want to be taking shelter and away from windows and interior room of your house immediately. Southern Berrien County, we'll track this one more time because this area of the storm is also rotating. We're just south of Nashville here in Berrien County. Lacey, again, with this particular cell in Assyria, take shelter immediately. You're in the danger zone right now. places into Eaton County, you have more like 15 or 20 minutes here. Charlotte's about 30 minutes away, in fact, and there has been no tornado warning issued for that particular cell. Again, recapping the wider situation of what's going on here, you can see the tornado warning that popped up here about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Kalamazoo County, you're already under that severe thunderstorm warning. Heavy rain, a ton of lightning. I'll flip on lightning so you can see that right now. That's going to be the one noticeable thing. If the tornado sirens are not waking you up, this thunder will, because it is very heavy lightning and thunder, torrential rainfall taking place right now. And also we have severe thunderstorm warnings posted for southern Cass and Berrien County. I think my producer's trying to talk in my ear. Go ahead. Okay, we're going to get over to Brian and Sue right now.
Well, Kyle, we can tell you that we're monitoring social media right now, and we are hearing that the sirens, people are saying that the sirens are going off in Kalamazoo and also throughout that area, as you've been mentioning. So we're continuing to track that, and we're hearing that people are saying a lot of torrential downpour in that area as well.
I'm glad you're pointing that out, Brian and Sue, because as I mentioned, there is a tornado warning for city of Kalamazoo, but the tornado threat appears to be north and east of the city of Kalamazoo. So it's good to clear that up for the people watching in Kalamazoo proper. It's northeastern Kalamazoo County that's we're especially concerned with right now.
Okay. Well, we continue to look into this, and of course people are concerned. They're watching our program right now to make sure that they're going to take cover. You've been giving tips on how to handle that, Kyle, and I'm sure they appreciate that. We'll continue to stay on the air as this warning continues to be in effect.
Yeah, the tornado warning right now, still 12:15. We haven't seen an update from the National Weather Service, but as I query this storm and take a look at some of the winds inside the storm, it appears that the greatest threat from this cell in particular appears, a lot of what I'm watching actually is in Berrien County right now, southeastern Berrien County, I beg your pardon. Also, the rotation is pretty minimal here in Kalamazoo County. Still a little bit of, I'm looking at a different radar interface. I'll switch over and show you what I'm seeing here. Northeastern Kalamazoo, right here north of Gull Lake, we're still seeing a little bit of rotation with this cell near Richland, so you still want to be in a safe spot here in northeastern Kalamazoo County, but it's, I believe the best rotation we're seeing here is actually in Berrien County. So if you're tuning in from Eaton County, really, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a tornado warning here over the next 10 to 15 minutes also. The storm cells are moving off to the north and east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Here's the other cells, the other system that we're watching carefully. And you know, the thing is, these don't look that imposing on radar. And if you were watching some of the developments as they were happening in Moore, Oklahoma from about a week and a half ago, the storms didn't look anything like this. They looked much more ferocious than what we're seeing here. But the thunderstorms that produce tornadoes in West Michigan are oftentimes these types of thunderstorms. They're not high end on the scale. They're not supercell thunderstorms with rotating updrafts. It doesn't appear that that's what we have here. These type of thunderstorms will produce tornadoes, but they're often much weaker. But like I said earlier, if you're talking about EF0 or EF1 damage, that can be enough to destroy an outbuilding. It can be enough to destroy a chicken coop. It could be enough to do some pretty heavy damage to your house. Unlikely to level anything, but still, think about this. A picnic table being blown through your back sliding glass door. That's a dangerous situation, and that's the kind of thing we're facing right now with this tornado warning and the possibility for a tornado here just south of Nashville and Berrien County, also extreme northeastern Kalamazoo County. Now, I've kind of neglected you here in Calhoun County. Battle Creek, you are under this tornado warning by definition. You look at the outline of it, you can see that red cuts into northwestern Calhoun County, but I haven't seen much in the way of rotation here across Calhoun County. This part of the thunderstorm here that's over Battle Creek and northwestern parts of Calhoun County, I haven't seen any rotation here. Now, that doesn't mean you can't see a tornado. Sometimes what we see in the air as the radar shoots through the storm, that can be pretty high off the ground because you're getting away from the radar site, which is at Gerald R. Ford International Airport. So even if we're seeing rotation here, there's precedent that we see tornadoes away from where the rotation is. And so that's why I'm sure that's why the National Weather Service decided to include northern Calhoun County. And now your tornado threat here is much lower, but it's still possible that we could see a brief spin up or a tornado here. But the primary threat, again, this area of rotation here in southeastern Berrien County, also this area of rotation that's just about ready to exit Kalamazoo County. Let's take this, let's go a little bit closer here, and I want to show you velocity on radar. This is the wind speed on radar, and you can see one area of concern right here. It's almost like a dentist and you're looking for something on an x-ray for a bad tooth here. We can pick this out here. Wind speeds moving away and toward the radar. When you have those pretty close to each other, and you can see this moved off to the east and intensified a little bit, that's the zone where we're really concerned, where you have these winds that are opposing the radar and winds that are headed toward the radar near each other. This is the zone of concern right here. So it looks like the zone of concern has just about fully exited Kalamazoo County. It's tough to say because we're seeing some lighter greens and darker greens here. This is not storm relative velocity. This is overall wind speed. So it's possible that this could be of concern right here too. But I certainly would be concerned with what's going on here in southern Berrien County. Probably hearing sirens go off in Battle Creek, City of Kalamazoo, and southeastern Berrien County. And if you're just joining us, you're under a tornado warning here for all of these areas until midnight, and actually 12:15 for Doppler radar indicated rotation. Getting an update now from the National Weather Service. I'm going to flip my terminal over to the chat page here and see what they're saying. They're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Kalamazoo and Van Buren. That goes until midnight. And also, they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Eaton County. So that's a hint. I told you there's that area of rotation that we're watching carefully that's pushing out of Berrien County into Eaton County, and they've chosen to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Eaton County. So that perhaps means that threat has diminished a little bit with the cell in Berrien County. Now, like I said, and certainly the National Weather Service, who issues these warnings, acknowledges this, that the threat tonight for tornadoes is quite low overall. But you look at the storm damage that happened near Lansing just within the last couple of hours, and you look at the environment overall, and then you see perhaps just a tweak of rotation on radar, and you think to yourself, better safe than sorry. These kind of thunderstorms certainly have a precedence for producing tornadoes here in West Michigan, but usually they produce fairly weak tornadoes. But as I've explained almost ad nauseum, that when you see storms like this, they could produce EF0s, EF1s, perhaps even EF2s, and those are on the weaker scale when you take tornadoes as a whole. But if you're talking about even an EF2 with wind speeds well over 100 miles an hour, that's enough to pick up a picnic table, it's enough to destroy an outbuilding, enough to slam lawn furniture through a window in your house. And think about non-tempered glass and the shards of glass that you're going to be seeing. It's a dangerous situation nonetheless. So let's flip over to graphics here and we'll show you tornado safety. Since we have this tornado warning for northeastern Kalamazoo County, and this is extreme northeastern Kalamazoo County, southern Berrien, and northwestern Calhoun County, you're going to want to take shelter and make sure you're in a safe spot till we get the all clear. Basement, lowest level, interior room, these are going to be safe places. If you're in a mobile home, you need to get out of there. That's not a good spot to be. If you're just joining us, in fact, you're hearing those sirens going off in your neighborhood, now's the time to implement your tornado in Muskegon County, right into the Muskegon proper area, and that heavy cell is up near Wolf Lake right now. But yeah, we picked up some really heavy rain with a quickly growing thunderstorm cell over southern Muskegon County. A lot of lightning with that also. You can see that here when I turn on lightning tracker. I mean, it's just been a serious light show tonight. Here it is across southern Muskegon County. You can see that pushing through. Also Oceana County getting a good thunderstorm here too. But some very vivid lightning, as you mentioned here in Muskegon, Brian, and we're seeing some pockets of yellow, and I'm sure red will follow with these heavy rain cells in Muskegon County. To summarize what's going on for a bigger scale now, to divert some attention from the tornado warning for a second, you can see that thunderstorm warning is out for Eaton County. We're still under a general thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning anymore for Kalamazoo County. And then the county shaded in orange from I-94 south, that watch box, I'll flip off radar so you can see this better. That watch box is for a severe thunderstorm watch until 2 a.m. So that threat's going to continue here for a while here overnight tonight. Now, flipping off warnings and turning lightning back on, look at this. It's just copious strikes of lightning here within the last half hour. Look at these numbers. We're closing in on 4,000. Amazing amounts of lightning. I was telling my producer right before the show started that of all the thunderstorms we've seen so far in West Michigan this year, which hasn't been that many, when you count them up, but this is by far the most intense lightning show I've seen out of any of these thunderstorms so far this year. So again, that's going to be the primary threat. I want to track some of these cells that are going to be affecting Grand Rapids and Muskegon and Holland and points northward here as we head through the overnight. I'll flip lightning off. You can see some of the heavier, the more intense cells west of Muskegon, middle point of Lake Michigan, also offshore from Milwaukee to Racine, about 60 miles west of Holland. These cells, the direction on these, basically east, perhaps just a touch north of east. This will be into Holland by about 1 o'clock. secondary cell for Port Sheldon, Grand Haven, and western Ottawa County by 1:19. Another storm cell here for western Muskegon County, Montague, Pentwater, Whitehall by about 12:30. Interior parts of Muskegon County near Wolf Lake by 1 a.m. We'll see the storms pick up. And then you've had these rumblers moving across northern Newaygo and southern Oceana County. I haven't been forgetting about you. It's just not a severe situation here. That's been going on for the last half hour, 45 minutes, if not even a little bit longer than that. Let's go back to this tornado warning that continues for southern Berrien and northern Kalamazoo County. Get the recap on that. That is still in effect until 12:15. And while we look at the latest sweep of radar data, bear with me for a second because I'm going to put a track back on this in just a second. But I want to flip over to the National Weather Service chat page and see if we're getting any new information from them. They are, well, that funnel cloud report that I gave you from near Battle Creek, actually 3 miles northeast of Augusta. So now we're in Kalamazoo County, right near the Calhoun County line. The fire department there reporting a funnel cloud. That was at 11:30. It says the fire department reported a funnel cloud northwest of Battle Creek. That location is approximate, again, 3 miles northeast of Augusta. And so I presume, even though on radar it looks like this threat is diminishing pretty rapidly, I presume that lone funnel cloud report is the reason that the National Weather Service is allowing this tornado warning to continue until midnight. So if you're just being awakened by all this lightning, all the thunder, very, very loud out there, very heavy rain. We're going to be looking at some torrential rain and some likely minor flooding, street flooding, farm fields, your backyard, perhaps some people who are unlucky, their basements. That tornado warning continues until midnight for southeastern Berrien County, south and west of Nashville, and northern Calhoun County. But you look at the void of radar data over Calhoun County. All along, I've maintained that the tornado threat here, especially Battle Creek, is minimal. Perhaps you have sirens going off in Battle Creek. I know they have been in Kalamazoo and a number of cities in this warning track. But again, the tornado threat appears to be pretty minimal in Calhoun County.
People on social media saying that the sirens are going off in the Galesburg area, in the Battle Creek area, over in the Springfield area, and I'm just trying to get the warning out to people that may need to take cover. We do have some information about power outages coming in, Kyle, and here's what we have for you. In Cooper Township, which is on the north side of Kalamazoo, 200 people are affected there.
Also in southeast Berrien County, a couple of reports coming in near Assyria, about 100 or so outages there. That's reported within the last hour. And so those folks may be looking at a long night as these storms continue to roll through that region.
And Brian, and see, a lot of people, when we have situations like this, will ask, Kyle, why do you guys stay on the air for an hour when you're saying that the tornado threat here is minimal? Well, there's a couple of reasons. A, better safe than sorry. If there is an actual tornado here, which we're not going to be able to know until it's light tomorrow morning, or if there's significant damage reports coming in later tonight, if we don't get those reports until tomorrow morning or late tonight, it's always better safe than sorry. And the second reason that we do this is because there are a lot of people who are going to be awakened by tornado sirens, by lightning, thunder, and certainly you can envision what they're going through when they get awakened in the middle of the night. You have screaming children who hear this going on. Everybody's scared, wants to know exactly what's going on. We want to be there for you when this kind of thing happens in your community. So I know Jay Leno's on. We're going to get to him as soon as this tornado warning expires. We know that's important. We take that very, very seriously, but our commitment to public safety is such that we feel we need to be on the air when there's a tornado warning issued like this, especially when it's moving through a more populated area. Battle Creek, you're right on the fringe of this. Southern Berrien County, not a lot of population there, but every person counts to us. And when you have sirens going off in your neighborhood, and you have loud bursts of thunder and lightning going off, it can be a frightening situation. And we want to make sure that you have all the information that we have here in the 24-hour tracking center. So that's why we're continuing this coverage until the tornado warning expires, which is coming up here. In fact, see if we got an update from the National Weather Service. The tornado warning for southern Berrien and northwestern Calhoun County, that goes until 12:15. And it'll be interesting to see if the National Weather Service allows this to expire a little bit early. As I look at this cell on my other radar terminal, the far northern part of this warning, so we're talking about areas between Hastings and Battle Creek in northern Berrien County, still seeing a little bit of rotation right here along M37. It's not significant, but like I've said a number of times here over the course of the evening, these types of thunderstorms have produced tornadoes in West Michigan before. I've seen it I've seen it. I mean, I've broadcast the coverage, and I've gone down to see the storm damage the next day or even that night in some cases. And what you'll see out of thunderstorms that produce tornadoes that look like this on radar is EF0, EF1, EF2 type damage, and that's enough to destroy an outbuilding, to destroy a chicken coop, to knock down small to medium trees or sometimes even large trees that have rot in them or are ready to go already. And the other thing to consider here is that we've seen heavy, heavy rain. And when you get torrential rainfall over a course of a couple of days or several bouts of heavy rain like we've seen today, that really loosens up the soil. And so if you have moist, muddy soil in the root structure of a tree, and then you incorporate into that mess some strong gusty winds or a weak tornado, it's going to take what otherwise might be a strong, stout tree that you would think would never come down and knock it over. That soil structure is just not as strong as it used to be. You get a gust of good wind, the leaves are out. When the leaves are out, they act like small parachutes catching the wind. That can topple a really big tree. And I've been out on those sites when we've had storms just like this that produce smaller tornadoes, and the homeowners are shocked. They've had that tree on their property for 40 years. It gets knocked down in a strong wind, and it's because of those exact reasons that I just told you. Let's go back to radar full. I want to do a little bit more tracking here. What I'm seeing on radar here when I flip over to my other terminal is the opposition of the green and the red next to each other. That's what we look for the differences in wind speeds on radar. Doppler radar can look into a storm. It can bounce a signal off raindrops within a thunderstorm, and it's able to tell the direction and speed, not the direction, I'm sorry, the speed of those raindrops away or toward the radar. And from that, we can deduct the rotation within a storm. So it's this part in southern Berrien County that I'm especially concerned with. Calhoun County, you're in the clear. I don't think there's any question about that. At this point, the tornado threat for Calhoun County is over. But for Berrien County here, especially southeastern Berrien County, bordering on Eaton County, there's still a minor, just a little bit of rotation here with this particular cell to the south and west of Nashville. So if you're watching us, I know this has been a long haul. This warning came out at 11:15. But if you're watching us from parts of Berrien County, south of Hastings along M37, you still want to be in a safe spot, okay? The storm's moving northeast at about 35 or 40 miles an hour, and that's going to put the rotating part of the storm in Nashville in 19 minutes. Into Eaton County, about 22 minutes from now. Here's Carlisle in 27 minutes, Vermontville in Eaton County in about 26 minutes. And again, I've talked about the threat from these in terms of weak to moderate tornadoes. The other characteristic that I found with tornadoes that come out of storms like this is that they're down for a very brief period of time. And so when you look at the odds of significant damage at your property, yes, that threat is low, but when a tornado drops down out of the sky quickly, and even if it's only on the ground for a quarter mile or a half mile, if that hits your property, that's going to be a devastating situation for you and your family. And again, like I've discussed, these type of thunderstorms, I've seen them before. Several times per year in West Michigan on average, thunderstorms that look just like this produce EF0, EF1, EF2 tornadoes that do enough damage to destroy outbuildings and pick up picnic tables. I've seen chicken coops that have been shredded because of this. I've seen barns. You think about those old, beautiful barns you see out in the country. I've been through Allegan County after a tornado swept through and seen those destroyed and families devastated by the loss of some of the property and even sometimes farm animals. And that's not even to say what can happen to your house in terms of shingles getting knocked down, things being thrown through large glass windows in your house, especially the non-tempered windows. Think about those huge shards of glass that could be flying around in your house. Dangerous situation. Let's go over to the anchor desk and get an update from Brian and Sue.
You know, Kyle, you mentioned the time that this is all happening. I've noticed that some people are saying that they were asleep and heard the sirens and then were able to get up and get to safety. And there are some other people that said that they haven't been able to hear the sirens at all. So even though they know they're going off in their area because of, I would imagine the storm is loud also. So maybe could be drowning out the siren in some areas. So, you know, if you know someone in that area, it might be a good idea to give them a call too, just to make sure that they are able to get to safety, because it is a little bit later at night and they could have gone to bed early.
No question. I mean, this is a scary situation, Sue, that you mentioned. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you have tornado sirens going off in your neighborhood, you turn on the TV and you see a tornado warning. You want to get the latest information. And to address the point that you're bringing up about tornado warnings going off in some communities and not others. Now, the National Weather Service posts these severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings, but it's up to the individual communities be it the local fire department or the police or the sheriff's department or even town hall, to sound the sirens. And so it's entirely possible that some communities have their sirens going off that are under this warning. Some communities do not. It is up to the individual lowest common denominator, or I shouldn't say that, the lowest common unit of government is what I'm trying to say, as to whether or not these sirens get sounded. Now, recapping the bigger scene, since we've been on the air here at 11:15 with continuous tornado warning coverage for Berrien and northwestern Calhoun County, this line of storms has started to fill in here. Newaygo, Kent, Ottawa, we're seeing some pretty heavy rain, solid thunderstorm activity, a lot of lightning with this. Now, of course, the heaviest of the lightning is the area where the tornado warning is. It becomes a little more sparse once you get into Kent County. But we're going to see the rain start to pick up here in Grand Rapids and along the 131 corridor here in the next half hour to 45 minutes, or even sooner than that. You can see some of the darker greens here in far western Kent County. Let's track some of this heavy rain into Grand Rapids here by about 12:15. Coopersville, you're seeing some pretty heavy rain right now. That makes it into Rockford and Comstock Park by about 12:15 a.m. Southern Muskegon County over towards Cedar Springs, Kent City, and Sparta by 12:30. Now, this is not severe weather here, and I don't expect it to be severe weather, but we are going to see an increase in the intensity of rain. A lot of lightning out here over the center part of the lake. That storm cell is tracking eastward as well. In Holland, you are already seeing rain and lightning. The heaviest of this is off to our west. We'll see that move in by 1 a.m. for western Ottawa and northwestern Allegan County, and then also a pretty vigorous storm cell, but not severe, over central Lake Michigan. That will be up toward Montague, Whitehall, Pentwater, and northwestern Muskegon County here by about 12:34 a.m. Now, back to the storm that we're really concerned with and continue to have a lot of care for. Torrential rainfall moving through Kalamazoo with this storm cell, and now it moves into southern Berrien County. I mean, you look at what's going on in Berrien County, you can't even see the county lines here because there's so much lightning with this. That area of dark red, that's where the rotation is with this particular storm cell, and the National Weather Service has kept this tornado warning up for Calhoun County and northwestern northwestern Calhoun County and southeastern Berrien County. Although certainly for Calhoun County, I think it's time for the Weather Service to let this expire. But perhaps we can, it's up to them if they want to keep it going for Berrien County or not. But I think Calhoun County, your threat is over in terms of tornado. But you're going to see a lot of heavy rain and some more lightning. Okay, this is good news. Just coming in here within the last 30 seconds, the National Weather Service is issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for the area that's covered by the tornado warning. Now, they haven't canceled the tornado warning yet, but to me that tells me that they're going to let it expire or cancel it early here. That brand new severe thunderstorm warning has just been hoisted for, again, Berrien, Calhoun, and Kalamazoo County. That goes until 1 a.m. I can't tell you for a fact, but I presume this is going to replace the tornado warning. This new information just coming in from the National Weather Service. Again, it's southern Berrien County, Calhoun County, and eastern Kalamazoo County, and that goes until 1 a.m. Okay, so if they've issued this severe thunderstorm warning for southern Berrien County, that means the tornado threat has officially ended for Berrien County. And as I look at my other radar terminal here, I'm looking for rotation. I still see very, very little. That's been the case for the last 15 minutes or so. The heaviest of the rotation was from about 11:10 to about 11:35 or so. And over the course of the last 25 minutes, even though the intensity of this storm, when you talk about heavy rain and lightning, that has not petered out. The rotational component of it has seemed to petered out. So we haven't officially, the tornado warning hasn't officially been released yet, but we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been posted for Berrien County as well as Calhoun County. So I suspect that they're going to let that go here pretty quickly. One more recap of the situation for everybody all across West Michigan, because I know we're spending a lot of time on what's going on here west of Charlotte and southeast of Hastings, but there are a lot of other powerful thunderstorms moving through West Michigan, a ton of lightning. Another area of focus for us, northern Newaygo, parts of Lake County, also northern Kent County, southeastern Muskegon County, parts of Ottawa County, and a couple more pretty good sized thunderstorm cells here just west of Pentwater, just west of Holland. They are moving at about 45 miles per hour, and so that's going to push off to the east, and we track these into Holland by about 1 o'clock, into Pentwater by about 12:27. New era in Whitehall, Montague, perhaps a better geographic estimate of where those will be about 12:30. I want to send it over to Brian Sue one more time here and see if we're getting any updates on what people are saying on social media, emails, Twitter, Facebook, etc.
Well, yeah, Kyle, again, we're getting reports of power outages in that area where the warnings are in the southern portion or viewing area. Power outages there, localized flooding, some reports of hail damage, and a lot of folks on social media expressing frustration at the National Weather Service tonight. And maybe, Kyle, you can walk us through this. Their policies and procedures, as you understand them, why wouldn't we get, as has been expressed online here tonight, watches and a warning, maybe a thunderstorm warning as a heads up? Why would they go right to the tornado warning?
First of all, before I answer that question, I want to point out the tornado warning has officially been canceled. So we're out, the threat is over for tornado warnings. But why do we jump right from a watch? Why do we skip the steps of watch and thunderstorm warning first? The reason's pretty simple. The watches themselves, and keep in mind, a thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch just means we need to watch for severe weather, the possibility of severe weather. In fact, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch out south of I-94. But the reason we can jump right to a tornado warning without seeing a thunderstorm warning first is because a thunderstorm doesn't necessarily have to be producing large hail or strong straight line winds to be tornadic, and that's the case tonight. This cell that we've been spending so much time on in parts of northeastern Kalamazoo, southeastern Berrien, northwestern Calhoun County, that thunderstorm, as far as I can tell, not a hail producer, not a straight line wind producer, but it did have rotation and it had a ton of lightning. Lightning alone does not make for a severe thunderstorm warning, so if you have rotation on a thunderstorm that doesn't have other severe characteristics, big hail, strong straight line winds, that's how we jump right to a tornado warning. And believe me, I understand it can be very frustrating when a tornado warning is posted and the thunderstorm that's prompting this tornado warning doesn't look that imposing on radar. We see this a lot in West Michigan. I mean, this is obviously not the heart of Tornado Alley. We haven't had an F5 tornado in Michigan since the 1950s, when we had two, one of which was the Standale tornado in 1956. That's the last time we've had an F5 tornado. It's been half a century. But we do on a frequent basis see thunderstorms that, like this, that don't look that imposing, that can produce a tornado with very little notice. And so given the fact that the tornado threat appears to have ended, at least for now, we're fully staffed overnight. Kirkwood's on his way in right now. Given the fact that the tornado threat, imminent tornado threat has ended, we want to conclude severe weather coverage at this point. But just know, Brian and Sue, that we're going to keep on this very closely. We'll be posting updates on social media, on woodtv.com, as well as Twitter, @WoodTV8. You can find me at WX8, and also on the respective Facebook pages. And so, immediate tornado threat over, but severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Kalamazoo, Calhoun, and Berrien County, as well as Eaton County, and those go until 1 a.m.